Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. Today I'm working on the memory quilt for Richard Stutler and the family. And with that being said, the next step of this process is going to be cutting down the t-shirts into the needed size. So I'm going to be using a lot of different rulers today, and I've already got my cutting mat marked up for the tentative size that I'm going to be using. I've got my number templates for as I cut the shirts, I'll be adhering the numbers. Then I've got my graph chart that I've made up, so I'm going to know which block's going to go into which section. So with that being said, thank you for joining me today for this next segment, and God bless you. Right now at this portion, I'm just cutting the numbers so that as I cut the shirt, that I'll be able to adhere them together. Make sure that you're using your paper scissors when you're doing this. And I'm really OCD about getting everything in their orders that they need to be. As I move along with this process, you're going to see me cutting up paper. Everything has a number. Then I'll take a final shot, send to the family once I get everything in order the way that I feel it needs to go. And then they'll tell me if they like the layout that I've done. So with that being said, as I move forward, I'm going to be sizing the shirts and deciding what size is going to go where here on my graph chart. All you're going to see is the number, and I'm going to decide before I cut the first shirt what size these blocks need to be. I'm estimating about a 15 by 15, and I could end up moving my lines a bit. So before I do anything, I'm going to start with the memory pillow for Janet. And that one there, I can do pretty much any size. I want it to be a nice size for her. There's a couple special blocks that the family has allotted aside that they'd like for either placement of the quilt or whatever. And I've got this. This is a t-shirt I used to wear. When you hold it, know that I am there. This one is going to go onto this shirt as a little special something from Joe and I to Janet. So let me get this laid out and I'll measure it up, and we're going to have an idea of what size I need. So what I did, and I shouldn't have put my papers, we put the ruler over it so they don't slide. I put little marks here, and that's just for my own personal use, so that when I'm moving things around, I'm going to know where my landing marks are. So what I do, everybody does them different, is I'm going to start with the bottom of the shirt and come up to where I know it's in this line. And then that's going to tell me my line up. And I know this is pretty well centered. And my blue painter's tape will be cut up quite a bit, and you always prepare for that. Then my ruler's a 16, not a 15. So what I'm going to do is go to my corner, and I'm going to line it up where I want it to be. That's about right there. I want to make sure I get as much of the logo in as possible, and that the logo is centered. Now my center line is right here. I've got an old piece of tape, and I left it on so that I'm going to be watching for dead center. Here's my dead center mark, and I'll utilize it throughout this process. But what I'm going to do is where my hole is, that's just going to give me a quick reference as to where it goes. So as I move forward, I can streamline. So this, her pillow in particular, I am going to do it as at a 16 by 16. And I'm going ahead and leaving a little bit of extra that's going to be lost in seam allowance. I want to double check and make sure that I'm happy with the measurements as it is. And I'm quite happy with it where it's at. Like I said, I will be cutting the blue tape. There's no way around it when you're cutting in the dark underneath. And you'll see what I mean here momentarily. There's going to be lots of cuts on it. And the main thing is put pressure down so that you're not cutting all callywhank and it doesn't shift on you. And I am quite happy with that one. I've got myself a bag here that I'll put the scraps in, closing my marking tool. And I'm quite happy with that one. So this will be her memory pillow. So that is cut, and this is at a 16.5 by 16. So as I mark her stuff, because it's separate, I'm going to adhere this so that we don't lose it. And this will stay with it throughout the time on it. I've got Janet's label, and it's not going to get one of these numbers because it's not included in my count. So this is just going to go here, and then at the bottom here, since this one's for Janet, in my reference, because by the time I cut all these, 16 by 65, that way I have hers logged and ready to go. So I'm going to move on to the next one. As you can see, I have a couple that I marked large because these are the two largest shirts that I could find. And that's going to give me a little baseline on where we're going to need to go with this. So I'm going to lay both these out, and they're going to give me a better idea of a measurement that I need to follow here. And this has the eagle that's way up in here. There's no way I'm going to be able to catch all that. So I'm still going to move this up as far as I can. That way it's in the center. I think I've caught just about everything that I can on this one. And this is going to tell me, since this is the first shirt, just about where I can line up for my dead center mark. Harley was his favorite motorcycle, so I'm definitely going to try to catch as much of it as I can. And I'll be cutting all these blocks. It looks like about the same at 16.5, and they'll finish up at 16. So this one is going to get number 1, I believe. But I'm going to lay this aside for just a minute because there's a couple special ones, and I just want to make sure I get them where the family wants. So this is another one of the large shirts. We're just going to get this one laid out as well. I'm going to line it up. Here's my center mark. And I'm going to do the same thing. The goal is to keep your shirt straight. Everything lined up the way that you would like it. And that looks pretty good to me because I'm dead center of where the tag is in the shirt. Open it back up and give it another cut. There'll be one more special shirt, and then I'll start numbering. I just want to get these into the right block when I number them. And this was one of his work shirts. This tag needs to stay on so I remember as I'm working this project that it's going to be dead center of the quilt no matter what. Line up. Get the whole truck in. Slide it out. The interfacing is amazing anytime that you're working on a t-shirt quilt. Dead center right about there. Up as high as I can. And I'm going to have this little bit of a bottom, but that's okay. I know what I'm going to do there. Okay with that. This tag back on so it stays with the quilt through its entirety. And I'm going to label this for number 1. Number 2. And as I said, the numbers are really important anytime you're doing a project. That way, when you send them to the family, they can tell you if the number placement is correct and you can shift them really easy versus just the logo. I always try to put the number just about the same spot on all the shirts. But the dead center one needs to go dead center of the quilt. So I've got my diagram one. I'm going to put one here. Place there. Fold them up and we're going to get this moving right along. There's going to be some shirts that'll be cut a little bit smaller based on the size of the logos that are in them. So the way that I'm going to do this, start facing them down over here so I don't lose track of where I'm at. And we're just going to keep moving. I'm going to go through all the gray, then I'll pepper the rest in. Okay, now we're down to the last shirt to be finished off. I've got it all trimmed around its perimeter. And now I'm going to go the 9 inches down. So you really want to make sure that the line on your ruler is across the top of the letters. And that's going to give you that 2-inch border or 1.5 inches, wherever you would like. So I'd like this to be centered pretty well, and it is. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to go straight here to my 9. And then I'm going to just trim across if I would need to, because I'm fitting this in down the side of the quilt. That's going to leave me the room that I need that I'll be able to trim off here. If not, I've still got it looking nice here. This will be number 37. And that'll complete this segment. The next one will be when it's laid out. And you'll just see a picture of it laid out, and then a picture of it the way the family has moved it around. And then it'll be me getting it all pieced together and moved in. So with all that being said, thank you guys for joining me for this segment.